So next we have a presentation from Adam Rush, who's the International Markets Manager from Coats Group. For the past 6 years, Adam has seen firsthand how the QSR industry has adapted to the evolution of merchandising solutions, including those in the digital landscape. He has played an important role in helping brands all across the Asia-Pacific and Middle Eastern regions to deploy these solutions based on their specific needs and local market requirements. Through close stakeholder engagement and strategic planning, Adam has overseen a range of projects which have focused on the modernization of brands, restaurants, and large-scale digital rollouts. He has considerable experience in India and is optimistic of the potential and opportunity that this market has to deploy smart digital merchandising solutions in the wave of its significant economic growth. Over to you, Adam.
Hi everyone, great to be here. Very excited to be talking to some key people in the industry today. As a company, we've spent a lot of time in India, where we have local operations and a local footprint. But in terms of our reach and in terms of talking to some of the people in this place today, this is something very exciting for us, something that we're looking forward to greatly. So what I might actually do is just start with a very, very quick video. It's a bit of an introduction to our company, and it summarizes some of our core values, what we seek to provide not only internally to our own staff, but also externally to our customers as well. So, Coats has been providing QSR brands globally with merchandising solutions for over 46 years now. During this time, we've overseen and completed a number of national rollouts for brands, including full digital merchandising packages in more recent years. Having worked with some of the largest multinational QSRs, we look to leverage some of the key informations and findings and experience we've gained as a platform for developing markets such as India. So today I'd like to cover a few points related to the topic digital merchandising, a QSR perspective, focusing on some of the key factors for success, how a brand you might want to consider these, whether you're brand new to digital or currently established and deployed. So just to get started, it'd be great if I could see a show of hands for anyone that is currently digitally deployed with their merchandising solutions. Not many people currently have digital. Okay, that's good for us. That's very, very exciting. A show of hands from anyone who has plans to deploy digital merchandising in the near future. Excellent, fantastic. So, first topic that I want to talk about is content strategy. So, content is king is one of the most common phrases used in marketing today. It is not the content itself that drives success, but the strategy behind it. And what we've learned is that the most fundamental question at the beginning of a relationship with a new client is always, what is your content strategy for in-store merchandising? It's important to bear in mind that a considered strategy for relevant, targeted messaging is crucial and should never be overshadowed by the latest technology. So as a QSR brand, you want to ask yourself some of these questions. How many menu day parts do we have? What does our product mix in our core menu look like? And how do we want to best merchandise these digitally? What promotions do we have, and how are we going to build content for these that advertises them in a creative manner whilst differentiating from the core menu? Who are our customers? What do they expect of our brand? And how do we want to integrate or perhaps even change that expectation of our brand in the way that we display our menu and our messaging? How many different digital touch points do I want in my restaurant? After a very, very long time in the business and in the industry, we've learned that the key to success is expertly and accurately determining the right solution for the specific client. And how to readily deploy it and scale it is obviously very important as well. There's no one right approach to deploying a project or to scaling up. It's a very unique science of determining the brand's top line objectives for their market, how the environment will react. And as a company, we understand that it's very important not just to be any other supplier. We want to be a transformative partner for our clients. So, clients, they differ from market to market, brand to brand. What works well for one brand may not be directly transferable to another brand. Similarly, we find that we cannot always drag and drop what we have success in one market with to another market. What you do in Australia is somewhat different to what you do in the USA, is somewhat different to what you do in India, and all across the Asia Pacific, globally for that matter. So, from the beginning, it's thoroughly important for us as the vendor to talk through some of the desired outcomes and objectives that you have as a brand. Really understand that and tailor a solution to you. It is a journey from the beginning, a journey that we like to go through in detail, talking to your key stakeholders in any of your digital products, so that we can build a solution which is going to be right for your brand. Testing and learning. So we've found that the most efficient and effective deployments involve partnering with brands from the get-go and walking them through the digital journey. It can be very overwhelming turning on all your digital functionality at once. That's why a staged approach is always a very sound and sensible option. And it also helps you to measure the success of various content and digital strategies as well. Things like location and product configurations. It's very important to have a unit of experts in content and technology, and a strategy to ensure a well-developed and measured approach, which is used to analyze what works, what doesn't, continue building on what works, and perhaps move away from what doesn't quickly. From a QSR perspective, this might include firstly deploying and mastering your indoor digital menu boards, which you commonly see behind the front counter, before deploying customer self-order kiosks somewhere in the main guest seating area for self-ordering purposes, or vice versa. It may be more apt for your brand to deploy self-order kiosks first and then move into indoor digital menu boards behind the front counter later. Having a clearly defined trial or pilot phase for your restaurants will allow you to test new innovations in a somewhat contained environment, where you can also have more measurable results and outcomes before proceeding to scale up and roll out. With digital, we find it very, very important to quantify and to have measurable outcomes. As stakeholders in your own company who may be driving digital, you want the results to be tangible. And through our content management system, through our analytics piece, this is something which is possible. And that's when you really start to see the true value being reflected back. When you can get your results on paper, you can see what campaigns work, which don't, which are converting, which are, suitable for upsell opportunities. These are the key things that you want to pick out and you really want to drill into. Staying hardware agnostic in digital is a strategic decision, and it is one which will give you benefits in the future. Similarly for Coates, we try to stay hardware agnostic. The cost of hardware, digital hardware procurement is significant, can be significant. It's something which QSR brands have different needs for. So with our technology, we actually partner and we actually have compatibility with some of the best-in-class hardware providers in the digital landscape. We are also cognizant and we're also wary of the fact that we may very well need to have our software solution accessible on other hardware brands which may not be considered some of the best in class, especially for some developing markets. We need to be flexible. We found that being hardware agnostic allows us to provide the optimal solution no matter what the size or scope of the job, whether it's a trial store, pilot phase, or whether we're doing a full national rollout. We find that our clients generally appreciate that and their loyalty tends to reflect that. The content management system of any digital solution is really the key driver. So we want to make this accessible and as compatible as possible on a range of hardware options. So I want to thank you all very, very much. Today was an opportunity to give you some key learnings and some key findings on digital merchandising in general and how these could be applicable to the QSR industry. My colleagues and I are very excited to be here. We have a booth set up with some products and some hardware, and we'd be very excited to understand firstly more about your brands, what challenges you're facing, what your plans are for digital deployment, so that we can find out what support and what solutions we may be able to provide and how we may be able to start a journey towards modernizing your restaurant and deploying smart digital merchandising solutions. So I'm absolutely happy to take any questions that you may have, if you guys have any questions in general. Hi.
My name is Ajay.
Hi, Jay.
I've worked around with quite a few QSR brands.
Yes.
And what do you think, obviously you would have started the market. What are the challenges that the QSRs face in getting into digital merchandising?
Sure.
They hesitate a lot. They try various players, small players, fly-by-night players, and I'm actually saying what actually happens on ground.
Sure.
So what do you think are the challenges?
Sure, absolutely.
Deploying a good strategy and a good channel partner.
Absolutely. One of the biggest challenges, or one of the main things that we try to do with digital merchandising and with brands is, first of all, change their perception of what it is. There is still a little bit of a common misconception that digital merchandising is just a few screens on the wall, perhaps with some USB sticks in them and some JPEGs on the screen. It's really a challenge getting a brand's marketing department to understand that, to have a switched on, engaged marketing department that understands that digital is more of a data-driven solution, which requires a bit of investment in terms of time, in terms of resources, to build the right content strategy. I think when a brand launches their digital without a content strategy, what they want to show, what they're trying to achieve, what they understand digital can bring, that's when the expectation sometimes falls flat. I also think cost is a challenge. And it's not just in India. Cost globally for digital for brands is a challenge depending on where they're at with their plans, in terms of where they're at with their scale as well. We try to overcome that by, as I said, staying hardware agnostic, trying to make sure the hardware is not the star of the show. It's really the content management system and what happens back at head office in terms of analysing the data, in terms of scheduling what you show on your screens, managing that content is where the real value lies. So, in terms of the challenges, I would really say that it's super important to approach it from the beginning with an open mind and the willingness to fully take on digital for what it is. Thank you. If there's no more questions, we are more than happy to catch you guys during the breaks and on side takeaway sessions and breakout sessions. We're very interested to hear what your plans are, what your challenges are, how we can help. India is a very important strategic market for us, where we have a footprint, where we have an office. We'd love to help deliver some of the success and some of the digital development that we've achieved globally on a large scale to date. So thank you again very much, everyone. Cheers.
That I'm sure was interesting and rather new for a lot of people probably. And like Adam said, I guess we all can go and meet Adam and the team outside, Sandeep as well, who's representing the India office.